It doesn't happen in the loud moments, it happens in the quiet ones. The ones no one else would notice. You're sitting across from someone, maybe a new partner, maybe a friend you've known for years, maybe even the same person who broke you before. They say something harmless, ordinary, the kind of thing you wouldn't think twice about if your heart was whole. But you feel it, that quick, involuntary tightening, like your chest just curled in on itself. It's the pause before you answer, the half-second scan for danger that they don't see, the weight of 100 memories pressing down on the moment until you can't tell if you're in the present or replaying the past. You want to believe them, you want to believe anyone. But there's that voice, the one that sounds like wisdom and warning at the same time, whispering, careful. You know how this story ends. This is what betrayal does. It doesn't just change how you see them, it changes how you see yourself. Before you trusted without thinking, you gave without measuring, you let someone close enough to see the unedited, unprotected version of you. And then they did something, lied, cheated, hid, broke, and the world didn't just tilt, it split. Now even when you want to open up, your body stays on guard, your mind keeps one hand on the emergency exit. Your love is unguarded unguarded anymore. It's rationed, filtered, tested against invisible rules that you didn't know you were writing until you saw them on the page. People tell you to move on. They tell you to forgive. They tell you that not everyone is the same. And maybe you nod, maybe you even agree in theory, but inside you know it's not that simple. Because trust isn't a decision you can make in one conversation. It's not a switch you flip just because you're tired of living like this. Trust is biology. Trust is memory. Trust is the sum of every signal your brain has learned to watch for. And once it's been rewired by betrayal, it doesn't reset just because you want it to. Here's the truth no one tells you. You can't force yourself to trust again, but you can teach yourself to. The science is clear. When we experience betrayal, the brain's amygdala, the part that processes threats, becomes hypersensitive. It stores the memory not just as a story, but as a pattern to avoid. This is why you can be safe in the present and still feel unsafe, because your brain isn't asking, is this person dangerous? It's asking, does this feel like before? And here's where most people go wrong. They try to rebuild trust by ignoring the fear. They push themselves into new relationships, new situations, new risks, telling themselves that courage is just pretending not to be afraid. But courage without safety isn't bravery, it's self-betrayal. If you can't trust again, you don't start by trusting someone else. You start by trusting yourself. That means knowing deep in your bones that if something goes wrong, you'll see it, you'll act on it, and you'll protect yourself without hesitation. It means proving to your own nervous system that you can walk into connection with your eyes open, not because you're naive, but because you're prepared. And that starts with awareness. Think of your mistrust like a guard dog. It barks at everyone now, not because they're all dangerous, but because once someone was and it was caught sleeping. You don't silence that dog. You don't ignore it. You don't shove it in the basement and hope it quiets down. You train it. You teach it the difference between a real threat and a passing shadow. And you do that one small signal at a time. Right now, your system is probably stuck in all or nothing mode. Either you're fully closed or you're too open and afraid of what happens next. The first step to rebuilding trust is creating what scientists call incremental safety exposure. You don't throw yourself into the deep end. You wade in slowly, letting your body and mind adjust to each step before moving further. That might mean starting with micro-trust moments, letting someone hold a small piece of information and seeing if they treat it with care, saying no to a request and noticing if they respect it, sharing a mild vulnerability and watching how they respond. Each time someone passes these small tests, your brain learns a new association. Not everyone will hurt me. And with repetition, those new associations begin to overwrite the old ones. But here's the catch. This isn't about testing them. It's about training you. If you make it a game of catching others failing, you'll always find a reason to keep the walls high. The point is to gather evidence for your own safety, not ammunition for your suspicion. And in this, there's another truth. Not every failure is a betrayal. Sometimes, people will disappoint you without destroying you, and part of trusting again is learning the difference. Right now, your fear is protecting you from the pain you already know, but if you never loosen its grip, it will also protect you from the joy you haven't felt yet. This is the paradox of trust. The only way to have it is to risk losing it. The only way to love one this flinching is to accept that you might have to grieve again. And yes, that's terrifying. But the alternative, living in a world where no one gets close enough to matter, is its own kind of heartbreak. So if you can't trust again, start here, not with the other person, not with grand declarations, not with a leap of faith. Start with a single breath, a single moment. Notice when your body tenses, and instead of forcing it to relax, get curious. Ask, what is this moment reminding me of? You'll be surprised how often your fear is about the past, not the present. And when you can name the difference, you take the first step toward rewriting the story your mind has been telling you. You've already felt the pull, the quiet longing to connect again, the part of you that still believes in closeness, even when your guard insists it's safer to live behind the walls. And yet, every time you step forward, there's a whisper that says, don't forget what happened last time. This is the tightrope of rebuilding trust. Gentle emphasis, and you risk falling into the same pain that broke you. Move too slow, and you risk never touching the life that's waiting for you. So we need a map, a way to walk forward with both courage and caution, a way to build openness that doesn't throw away the wisdom your scars have taught you. Stage 1, anchor yourself in self-trust. Before you hand anyone else the keys to your heart, you need to be sure you won't lock yourself inside with them. This means more than promising you'll leave if things go wrong. It means practicing the small acts of self-loyalty that prove to your nervous system you can see red flags and respond to them without delay. Start by listing your non-negotiables, not the vague kind, like I want respect, but the specific behaviors you will not tolerate. Lying about where they've been, making you feel unsafe in their presence, ignoring your boundaries after you've stated them clearly. The more defined they are, the faster your body can recognize them in real time. Then, give yourself small chances to honor those boundaries in everyday life. Say no when it's easier to say yes. Ask for clarity when something feels off, instead of pretending it's fine. Walk away from conversations that turn toxic, instead of staying to keep the peace. Each time you follow through, you send a signal to your subconscious, I will not abandon myself again. And when you trust gentle yourself like that, you stop needing to read every person as a potential danger, because you know you'll act if they are. Stage 2, create safe boundaries, not brick walls. Here's where many people get stuck. They think protecting themselves means keeping everyone at arm's length forever. But boundaries aren't about distance, they're about clarity. Imagine you own a garden. A brick wall shuts everyone out, even the ones who might help it grow. A boundary is more like a gate. It opens and closes when you decide, not when fear decides for you. The key is to build boundaries that let you breathe while still allowing connection. If you're meeting someone new, decide in advance how much you're willing to share about your past. If they push for more, don't interpret it as instant malice. See it as an opportunity to practice holding your line. Boundaries are not just for stopping bad behavior, they're for creating conditions where good behavior can thrive. When someone respects your boundaries, you're not just safer, you're also teaching your brain that safety and connection can exist in the same place. Stage 3, practice controlled vulnerability. Trust doesn't return in a single leap. It grows through a series of calculated risks. This is where controlled vulnerability comes in. It's not about spilling your whole story in one night. It's about revealing just enough for the other person to respond and then watching carefully. Start small. share an opinion that matters to you, and see if they dismiss it or invite more. Let them help with something minor and notice if they follow through. Mention a small personal fear and observe if they use it against you or treat it with care. The goal here isn't perfection, it's pattern recognition. One kind gesture doesn't prove trustworthiness, but consistent respect across small moments builds the foundation you need to go deeper. This process also keeps you from confusing chemistry with character. Attraction can cloud judgment, patterns reveal truth. Stage 4. Watch for repair, not perfection. This might be the hardest shift to make, especially if your betrayal came from someone who brushed off their mistakes. When you're learning to trust again, it's tempting to look for the person who never slips, never says the wrong thing, never forgets your needs. But perfection isn't real. What matters is repair. When they hurt you, and they will, because all humans do they acknowledge it? Do they listen without defending themselves? Do they take action to make it right? And do they follow through over time? Trust isn't built in the absence of harm. It's built in the presence of accountability. If someone can repair with honesty and effort, that's a green light. If they minimize, deflect, or make you feel wrong for feeling hurt, that's a red one. Stage 5. Integrate the past without letting it rule you. Even with all the safety steps, you will have moments where your body reacts before your mind catches up. That's not failure, it's healing in progress. The difference now is that you can name it. This is an echo, not a prophecy. Instead of letting the past shut you down, let it guide you. Ask, is what I'm feeling happening now, or is it happening then? If this is then, what's different about now? If this is now, what's my next step to protect myself? This is how you carry your history without being carried by it. You stop pretending it didn't happen, but you also stop letting it make every decision for you. The truth is, moving from suspicion to cautious openness will never feel completely safe, and it's not supposed to. That slight uncertainty is the price of connection. But with each stage, you build the skills and self-trust to navigate it without losing yourself. Fear and instinct wear the same clothes. They both make your pulse quicken. They both send that quiet tremor through your chest. They both tell you to watch out. But only one of them is telling the truth about what's in front of you. And after betrayal, it's almost impossible to tell them apart. You've probably felt it before. That flash of alarm when someone says something in a certain tone, or when their face shifts in a way that reminds you of that moment. Your breath gets shallow, your stomach knots, and your mind begins cataloging all the ways this could end badly. Sometimes, that's your instinct, a real-time pattern recognition system built from years of subtle learning, trying to warn you that something here feels off. Other times, it's just fear, replaying an old memory on a new stage. Nothing's actually wrong, but your body doesn't know that yet. The danger is that after betrayal, you start treating every tremor as a siren. You leave the conversation. You retreat behind the wall. You stop testing whether what you felt was real. You just assume it was. And while that might keep you safe from certain dangers, it also keeps you safe from certain joys. This is why learning the difference matters. Signal 1, speed of the feeling. Instinct rises slowly and steadily. It's a pressure that builds as small details add up. A mismatch between their words and their actions, a pattern that forms over days or weeks. Fear is a lightning strike. It flashes the moment something resembles your past, even if the context is completely different. When you feel that surge, pause and ask, am I reacting to a person in front of me or to a ghost behind me? Has this feeling been building from consistent signals, or did it appear in an instant? If it's instant, it might be fear, lower, careful tone. If it's been quietly stacking up in the background, that's instinct, asking for your attention. Signal 2, desire to confirm versus desire to escape. Instinct usually wants to learn more. It leans forward, listens closer, tries to understand the whole picture before making a move. Fear just wants out. It doesn't care about details. It cares about distance. If you feel the urge to disappear without even knowing why, you might be inside a fear reaction. If you feel curious enough to investigate, even while uneasy, that's often instinct guiding you. Signal 3. Connection to the body. Instinct tends to be specific in the body. A tightening in the jaw, a heaviness in the stomach, a pressure in the chest. It feels grounded, centered, like your body is quietly pointing to the source. Fear feels scattered. It shoots through your limbs, makes your breath race, leaves you feeling like you're vibrating from the inside out. When in doubt, slow down your breathing and notice where the feeling lives. If it has a location, it's more likely instinct. If it's everywhere at once, it's more likely fear. Once you can begin to sort the signals, you can stop living as if every alarm means the building is on fire. And that changes everything. Because now you can let the right people close without ignoring your body's wisdom. And you can keep your guard up when the patterns truly match danger. There are times when your walls are exactly what you need. When you've spotted a red flag and you're not ready to address it yet. When your body says this isn't safe and you need more information. When you're healing and know you can't hold the weight of deeper intimacy right now. In these cases, your walls are like a temporary shelter in a storm. They keep you dry while you decide your next move. But there's another side to it. The moments when the storm has passed, but you're still hiding inside. You might meet someone kind, consistent, patient, and still feel the impulse to keep them just far enough away that they can't touch you. The problem is, walls built for safety are made of the same material as walls built for avoidance. From the inside, they feel the same. So how do you know? Ask yourself, am I keeping them out to protect my peace or to protect my fear? Lower, careful tone. If it's peace, the wall will feel light, removable, like a gate you can open when the time is right. If it's fear, the wall will feel heavy, permanent, and tied to the past more than the present. The truth is, you can't live without any walls. That's not realistic, and it's not safe. But you also can't live with nothing but walls, or you'll end up protecting yourself from the very life you want to experience. The work is learning to build flexible boundaries that move with the moment. You've walked through the hardest parts already. You've learned to trust yourself first. You've set boundaries that breathe. You've separated instinct from fear. Now comes the part that feels both the smallest and the biggest, opening the door again. The truth is, trust is not something you give away in one motion. It's something you build brick by brick, test by test, breath by breath. It's not a grand gesture. It's a series of small ones, repeated enough to convince your body that this space is safe. And here's the most important thing to remember. You don't need to open the door all the way at once. You can let it rest on the latch, letting the person on the other side see a little more of you each time they prove they can handle what's inside. This is not hesitation. This is wisdom. Step 1, start with trust micro moments. Think of trust like a muscle. If you haven't used it in a while, you don't go straight to lifting your body weight. You start small. Pick moments that don't carry the weight of your entire heart. Share a light personal story and see if they remember it later. Ask for help with something minor and notice if they follow through. Let them in on a plan for your day and see if they respect the space you've set for yourself. What you're doing here is creating trust data points, little snapshots of reliability. When you gather enough of them, they begin to outweigh the fear snapshots your brain still carries from the past. Step 2, notice how they respond to your boundaries. Boundaries are the true litmus test of trust. It's easy for someone to be kind when you're giving them what they want. The real measure comes when you're saying no. When you set a boundary, even a small one, pay attention. Do they listen without arguing? Do they adjust their behavior in the future? Do they see your boundary as a limit or as guidance for how to love you better? Healthy people don't just accept your boundaries, they thank you for them because it helps them show up in ways that work for both of you. Step 3, watch for patterns, not perfection. No one passes every test. Even the most trustworthy people will forget, misunderstand, or make small mistakes. The question is not did they get it right every time, but how do they handle it when they don't? Patterns tell the story. Do they keep showing up? Do they keep trying? Do they repair when they slip? If you've been betrayed before, your fear might want you to run at the first sign of disappointment. But learning to stay long enough to see the pattern is what separates healthy caution from self-sabotage. Step 4, communicate what you need to feel safe. Trust doesn't have to be a guessing game. You can tell someone exactly what helps you open up, and you should. It might sound like, It helps me when you check in after we talk about something vulnerable. When you keep your word on the little things, it makes it easier for me to trust you with the big ones. If I pull back suddenly, I'm not trying to punish you. I just need a moment to check in with myself. The right person won't see this as work. They'll see it as a map to loving you better. Step 5. Keep one hand on your own center. Here's the paradox. Trusting someone fully doesn't mean handing them all your safety. Even in the best relationships, you should always keep a piece of yourself rooted in self-trust. Not because you're expecting them to fail, but because you know you can survive if they do. When you keep one hand on your own center, you stop needing to cling to theirs for balance. And that's the kind of independence that makes trust stronger, because now it's a choice, not a need. The beautiful thing is, you don't need to rush this. Real trust grows slowly, almost invisibly, like light returning after a long winter. One day, you'll notice you're laughing without scanning the room. You'll notice you're speaking without rehearsing the lines. You'll notice that someone's hand on your back feels like comfort, not a trap. And you'll realize it didn't happen all at once, but it happened. Opening the door doesn't mean you'll never get hurt again. That's not a promise anyone can make. The promise is this: you'll see the truth sooner, you'll act on it faster, and you'll never again lose yourself in the name of keeping someone else. And maybe that's what real trust is: gentle emphasis, not the belief that no one will ever break it, but the knowledge that you'll be okay if they do. So when you stand at that doorway, with your hand hovering over the latch, remember, you're not letting someone in because they deserve it without question. You're letting them in because you trust yourself enough to decide when they need to leave. That's not weakness, that's not recklessness, that's freedom. And if this journey has spoken to you, if even one part of you feels a little more ready to step toward the life that's waiting beyond your walls, then hold on to that spark. Feed it, let it grow, because you deserve connection that feels safe, love that feels steady, and a life where trust is not a gamble but a gentle choice you can make with your whole heart. If you've been walking this road alone for a while, I hope this space has reminded you that healing doesn't have to be rushed, and you don't have to carry the weight of it in silence. And if you'd like to keep taking these small, steady steps together, I'd be honored to walk with you. So if this resonated with you, let your heart decide if it wants more. If it does, you can gently press like, and if you want to keep these conversations close, you can subscribe to Heartnest. Not for me, but for you, so these reminders are always within reach when you need them most.